Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning back into Bastad Outdoors. I'm Chris, and today we're talking about anodes. You say, what does anodes have to do with fishing or boats? Well, it's actually has a lot to do with the health of your motor. Not just the health of your motor, but the longevity of your motor. Because what happens without an anode is electrolytic corrosion, which happens when you have a power source and a metal inside water, essentially, inside salt water or fresh water, and it tends to break down whatever the softest metal is around it. Now you ask, okay, that's fine, but what does an anode have to do? Okay, an anode acts as a shield from that corrosion. So the anode is an actual softer metal than the motor. So what you see here is I have a trim tab off of my 1994 Mercury 115 horsepower. It is also the anode. So they took a functional part of the motor and made it a softer metal that will actually take the brunt of the corrosion. Now, the motor has one, but also the transom mount has one. The transom mount is made of metal, obviously, and so it needs a softer metal to battle against the corrosion that would have taken place had it not been on the transom mount. So the transom mount generally is an anode bar, which is several inches long, and it's bolted to somewhere under the water line on the transom mount, as well as the anode for your motor is also mounted underneath the water line. If they weren't, it would not work. It would be non-functional, and your motor would still corrode. Your transom mount would still corrode. So we're going to go out, we're going to take a look at my Mercury, and we're going to see where the one on the transom mount is located and the one on the motor is located. All right, so underneath here is where my particular trim tab goes. Now on these Mercuries, some of them would have actual little tiny anode squares that would be bolted to the side above where the prop is. Now mine actually is the trim tab and will go inside here. It only goes in one way. Now that can be rotated to adjust the trim. This then has a 7/16 bolt that would be obviously bolted down in, and then that would save the motor from having the pitting and stuff like that. Now, the person that actually had this before me, they did not have the anode on it when I bought it, and obviously had been running it for quite some time without it, so there is some surface pitting, and over time it can deteriorate the health of your motor. But this one, fortunately, is all surface and has no issues. So what you're seeing here is the actual anode bar that is underneath the transom mount. As you can see, it is extremely pitted. There's major pits and everything. However, it has done its job. There is not a single bit of the corrosion on this transom mount. So you can see the difference between the one that had the anode on it, which is here, the anode bar, which is held on with 2 bolts. That's all it is, just 2 bolts. And the difference between that and the actual motor that did not have the anode bar on it. So as you could see, the difference between the part that had the anode and the part that did not have the anode, they were definitely corroded on one and not corroded on the other. The last thing you want to do is have a motor that breaks down or strands you out on the water and doesn't allow you to fish anymore. So make sure that every other fishing trip, 3 or 4 fishing trips, you constantly check those anodes to make sure that they're there. And if they're not, replace them for the health of your motor and to keep being able to fish. So thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe and like, and look forward to the next video. See y'all out there. You should have gone fishing.